कुमार स्वामी नायक गोंगो लुगु लटोका रेडियो फीजी 2 में पुराना गाना लगे हमें बहुत अच्छा लगे।
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन।
Good evening, Fiji. In this bulletin, ministry staff implicated in land scam. Massive sales spur consumer spending. And enforcement teams to monitor garbage disposal in Asinu.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Jackie Smith.
Two employees of the Ministry of Housing are now being investigated for their involvement in recent land sale scams. Minister Pramila Kumar expressed her disappointment, saying the two haven't reported to work since the issue surfaced. Kelly Vavala reports that the two allegedly issued documents to the public using fake letterheads.
These letters authorized people to build houses in River Road, Narere, Nasinu and Millennium Informal Settlement in Nosori, but they're all fake.
The recent reports we have, people have paid between $150 to $5,000, but it could be more. And there are, of course, individuals who are not coming forward to say that I have paid. We have looked at the letters. There are certain letters, we find that it was undated, and the former director of housing's names were used. The letter was done in such a way that first part of the letter had all the content, but the second part only had the signature.
The minister believes that other former staff may also be part of the scam, and names have already been sent to the Fiji Independent Commission Against Corruption. To date, 8 cases from Millennium Settlement and another 3 from River Road have been forwarded to FICAC.
This is corruption. You cannot be paying money to a staff of a ministry to get a place to build your home. This is not how it works. When it comes to a land deal, you're dealing with the staff in secret places, exchanging money and then pleading innocent.
2 families from River Road Settlement have confirmed paying cash, while FICAC has informed the ministry that a justice of peace has also been questioned. The Housing Ministry only facilitates applications under the government's First Land Purchase Grant Assistance.
This week there's about close to about 130 applications that are getting tabled with the committee. Out of that, about 80 applications are from the last year.
The ministry is urging members of the public not to give money to any individual without checking with the organization first, and always demand for a receipt after any payment. Kelly Vadala, FBC News.
Economist Dr. Rohit Kishore believes retail giants are clearing stock and stimulating consumer spending by massive discount sales. A number of duty and tax reductions have been announced in the national budget, and the new stock that will be brought in will need to be sold at cheaper prices. In the past 5 months, sales by retailers have increased 3-fold. Ritika Pratap with the details.
Retailers are using new techniques to generate sales in the midst of an economic downturn.
If they don't, and they themselves or their competitors will get the new model, latest technology, new model, new style, if you're talking about clothing, retails and all that sort of thing, with a cheaper price, then your stock that you have, you're carrying, will really be wasted.
Many people have gone into savings mode due to the uncertainty, and these sorts of tricks trigger a buying spree and get people out in the market.
If the situation is depressed, the market is depressed, the economy is depressed, you want to create some sort of activity.
These specials have become sort of a new normal currently in stores, right? And see, discounts and specials are not always bad if it is offered in the right manner.
Another observation by experts is that the pay for those in the public services sector has not been affected, hence the buying power remains.
We have managed to do that, and I hope we maintain to do that, because that will give the spending power. We don't want to kill the spending power.
Both are intertwined, right? We need both. Each parties need both to survive. So what we are advising here is that, traders be ethical.
Everyone loves a good bargain, and the shoppers in the capital city today welcomed the frequent sales.
Like sales like this is very important for the poor people, right? With less money they can buy more.
I came all the way from Serua to check out the sales in Suva. It's very helpful, especially for us that don't have money.
It's really affordable price for the people to buy things for their family, and this time of COVID-19.
Consumer spending is currently the key driving force, and these sorts of frequent sales will augur well not only for businesses but the economy as a whole. Ritika Pratap, FBC News.
Fiji Swimming recommends classes be made compulsory in schools to help save lives. Operation Manager Teresa Dunn says swimming is a life skill and lessons should be accessible to everyone. Ritika Pratap reports the suggestion comes after 5 people drowned within 2 weeks.
Fiji Swimming has reached out to over 22,000 children in Suva and Nadi through its school swimming programs.
We've had in the past years where we've had access to schools and where they've made schools compulsory to come down for swimming lessons. But now with what had happened with COVID, the ministry has said no extracurricular activities for this half of the year. So we're hoping that the Ministry of Education will change their mind and allow us to work with schools next year.
The association is now looking at expanding its awareness programs to remote areas where most of the drownings occur.
People living in those areas near creeks and rivers in remote areas probably don't have all the knowledge, and they probably take it for granted because they were brought up that way. But I think now that whole thing's going to change, and we're going to try and reach out and look at different forms or platforms where we can raise the awareness.
We take it for granted that all kids in Fiji know how to swim. Or we take swimming very lightly. It's like a joke, and I notice once the kid get older, they're embarrassed to tell their friends or colleagues they don't know how to swim.
The drowning at Suva's Olympic pool has raised questions, and the Suva City Council has re-looked at its rules.
One of the things that we are now ensuring that is the parents or the guardian ask if the children they're bringing are theirs, because we found at times children that come over to swim are not accompanied. Responsibility is not really there, and some of them they come as friends, telling parents that they're going somewhere else. Instead, they are here.
The drowning toll currently stands at 28 compared to 24 for the same period last year. The youngest victim is a 3-year-old. Ritika Pratap, FBC News.
An enforcement team will now monitor rubbish disposal in Nasino and fine ratepayers who don't follow the prescribed schedule. Local Government Minister Pramila Kumar says people in the municipality have a habit of not following the garbage collection dates, and this leads to complaints of rubbish piling up and maggots growing. Kritika Kumar reports.
Some ratepayers throw out rubbish on the roadside daily without following instructions from the council.
At least I expect, and we all expect sitting around the table, that the ratepayer should be able to separate these 3 waste and follow the schedule.
Kumar adds despite being densely populated, Nasinu has the lowest rates, which makes running the council almost impossible.
They must understand all this is costing time and money. It's just irresponsible behavior that is resulting in unnecessary money that we are wasting.
The Nasinu Town Council has outsourced its waste collection services to the Suva City Council under a new agreement, ensuring regular and efficient disposal for residents, businesses and informal settlements.
But we'll work together with Nasinu in the outreach. We will assist them in the outreach campaign, awareness, to go out there and, from house to house, replicate what we're doing in Suva.
Solid waste management has been a challenge for Nasinu, and we have been looking at how we can better deliver this service for some months now.
Kitchen waste will be collected 3 days a week, green waste will be collected once a month, and white goods will be collected every quarter. The SCC will start services next Monday, trying to clear the current pile-ups. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
Up ahead, more than 4,000 enlisted in Fiji police force. And used clothing outlet causes a stir in the capital.
मैं दिल्ली में रहता हूँ और रेडियो फीजी रोज सुनता हूँ.
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन.
More than 4,000 officers are enlisted in the Fiji police force. Chief of Operations ACP Abdul Khan says the recent increased budget will allow for the completion of the second phase of their restructure. Lena Rees has more.
The deployment of manpower varies in different divisions depending on the needs of the community.
Certain areas we may have 1 to 300, or some areas we may have 1 to 500 in terms of the ratio that we have compared to the community that is out there. And we have also deployed civilian police officers that are not in uniform but in civilian as well that are out there.
In its latest recruitment, the Fiji Police Force absorbed 259 special constables as regular officers. With more than 4,000 people on the ground, Acting Police Commissioner Rusiate Tunravu says human resources are not an issue in carrying out their work.
We cannot say that we have lack of manpower. The manpower is okay at this point in time, but we are thankful that the provision of government in our reform and structure. So we have requested for additional. They are giving us any financially the opportunity to recruit people to come in.
Also part of the restructure is improving the forensic capability of the force and communications across the country. Lena Rees, FBC News.
Shelter organisations or safe houses are in a process of validating standards for running a home. Fiji Women's Crisis Centre Coordinator Shamima Ali says many of these shelters for victims of gender-based violence lack ethical standards. These range from how the victims are treated, the well-being of their children, the healing process and the psychosocial support system. Vinina Rakautonga has more.
Although safe homes have been doing a good job in looking after victims of violence, there needs to be guidelines implemented.
They're good people, set them up with very good intentions, but often we have seen women suffer within these shelters, basically because the shelter workers haven't undergone, they don't have the capacity to deal with them.
FWCCC Coordinator Shamima Ali says most victims rely on these homes as a safe space.
There has to be some standards. You can't just take someone in and keep them. You have to have standards around ethical standards, meaning do no harm, woman-centered, it's about her and her life, and children also who are in homes and so on. So anyone who enters there must enter a place of safety.
UN Women Program Specialist Abigail Erickson says shelter organizations can share ideas and ensure that everyone agrees to the requirements.
Really, we need to have talanoa and dialogue to say, are we all on the same page for what these standards should look like? And are we being inclusive in our services, non-discriminatory?
The Fiji Women's Crisis Centre is also working on structuring its 3 shelters based in Suva, Ba and Lambasa with ethical standards. Venina Rakautonga, FBC News.
The Value City Regal outlet in the heart of Suva was packed today as hundreds of people took advantage of the shop's first day of operation. Management had to step in and put strict measures to avoid overcrowding. Apinisa Wangarandovo reports the shift to Suva CBD has seen an increase of customers for neighbouring businesses as well.
The turnout was beyond expectations, and while shoppers were overwhelmed, the company thought it was safe to control the crowd.
We usually expect a big turnout, but it was an extremely huge turnout today. We had to close the doors for about an hour and a half to allow the shop to empty out a bit and allow others to come in.
With everything improperly compartmentalized, the outlet will have a cafe operating from Monday to give shoppers more space to enjoy their experience.
Everybody's, after their shopping, can go and have lunch, or in the morning probably start your day with breakfast.
There are about 30 Fijians employed here, and most of them had recently lost their jobs due to COVID-19.
We've got baristas and cafe assistants who have been employed in the tourism industry. So we've employed everyone who was unemployed due to COVID.
It's very easy for the men now. We can just move around and look at all the clothes here for men. So very good for Value City.
It's so inspiring when I see the price of the things in here.
Fast food outlet McDonald's, which is just next door, also saw a lot of business, and Chut is glad that apart from noise, her new shop has brought some value to neighbors. Apinisa Wangarandovo, FBC News.
A glassware set is the only piece of memorabilia Agnes Khan has from Fiji's Independence Day celebration in 1970. The 79-year-old took part in celebrations in Lambasa, where the glass cups and a spoon were given to those in attendance. Felipe Naikaso has her story.
It may look like an ordinary glassware set to you and I, but to Agnes, it's the closest thing to a time machine.
Well, we've been going from here to there, and somehow or other we've been packing it so well that it survived all these many years. You know, like coming from Lambasa to Suva and from Suva to Lautoka, and you know, that kind of thing. It's survived so well. And it's memorable, you know, because it's something that you don't go back to again. So that's the main thing to me.
Agnes vividly remembers the day Fiji gained independence, recalling how celebrations were different in those times.
When to come to think of it, I was, because I mean, we've come a long way from what we used to be, and then to be independent was something different. I mean, that we are on our feet, put it this way.
Agnes Khan's late husband, Dost Merab Khan, also worked in government, and she has been to many Independence Day celebrations around the country.
Try and attend something, at least it will bring back memories of, you know, all those many years that the first independence came to Fiji, which is a good thing.
Fiji's 50 years of independence celebration next month is also very special for Agnes, as she turns 80 in January. Felipe Naikaso, FBC News.
And Whitney joins you now with the latest in business.
Thanks, Jackie. Coming up in business tonight, Nadi Airport ranks highly in scenery scores. And in growing Fiji, Nadi Lao youth turn to farming. Stay with us.
Pula natang ko aprosa ng karse, go erkraki. Do talebe on barong na Radio Fiji 1, nandom ibit.
Radio Fiji 1, nandom ibit.
Nadi International Airport has been named in the top 10 most scenic airports in the world by voters from around the globe. The results were revealed by Private Fly, who carried out the annual Scenic Airports poll. Fiji Airports Chair Jeffrey Shaw says the global recognition underscores Fiji's breathtaking views, natural beauty and tranquility when landing at Nadi International Airport. Shaw says the aviation industry is facing massive challenges in these demanding times, with tourism, international air travel at virtual standstill due to the COVID-19. He adds being rated in the top 10 is a reminder of how Fiji's appeal is embraced by international travelers. U.S. consumer spending slowed in August, with the key retail sales gauge unexpectedly declining as extended unemployment benefits were cut for millions of Americans. This has offered more evidence that the economy recovery for COVID-19 recession is flattering.
U.S. consumer spending slowed in August, with a key retail sales gauge unexpectedly declining as extended unemployment benefits were cut for millions of Americans, offering more evidence that the economic recovery from the COVID-19 recession was faltering. So-called core prices dropped 0.1% last month. Those are retail sales excluding automobiles, gas, building materials, and food service. Wall Street was anticipating a 0.5% increase. The report from the Commerce Department on Wednesday could ramp up pressure on the White House and Congress to restart stalled negotiations for another fiscal package. At least 29.6 million people are on unemployment benefits, and their benefits have sharply declined in the last month. Consumer spending accounts for more than 2/3 of the U.S. economy, and signs of fatigue are likely to grab the attention of Federal Reserve officials as they wrap up a two-day policy meeting. Despite that data, Improving outlooks for the U.S. and China nudged the OECD Wednesday to upwardly revise its forecast for the global economy. It now sees the world economy shrinking by 4.5% this year instead of 6%.
We now join Rocco from HFC Bank with the latest from the money market.
Australia's jobless rate has unexpectedly declined from a 22-year high in August to 6.8% as employment surged past all expectations. Employment skyrocketed by 111,000 against predicting a fall of 50,000, although the increase was largely led by part-time work. Across the Tasman, New Zealand recorded a contraction in GDP with a seasonally adjusted 12.2%, quarter-on-quarter its sharpest quarterly contraction on record and largely in line with forecast of 12.8% decline. Meanwhile, U.S. retail sales recorded 0.6% lower than last month, indicating that consumer spending has declined. A slight gain in the U.S. dollar was seen as the Asian market started trading today. On the other hand, Chinese data shows that industrial output accelerated in August, while retail sales grew for the first time this year. And the Bank of Japan has stressed its readiness to work closely with the new government to keep monetary policy steady. That's all for now from HFC Bank. Vinaka.
Looking at today's local exchange rates as set early this morning, it was a mixed day on the money markets. The Fiji dollar declined against the Chinese yuan, the Kiwi and the Aussie dollars as well as the yen, but rose versus the US dollar, the PNG kina and the euro. Looking at the commodities, oil prices were on the rise, now just under the $40 a barrel mark. Gold dropped a bit down to $1,948 per ounce, and silver slipped as well to close at $26.94 an ounce. The pandemic has allowed young people of Nadi settlement in Lautoka to plan sustainable community and economic development without rushing off to towns and cities. While launching a farm project in Lautoka, Youth Minister Praveen Kumar said the youth of Nadi are heading in the right direction. Kumar says the ministry is building its capacity to address youth issues and turning challenges into opportunities. The ministry also handed over farming implements and a grant to assist in their project.
We wish to see the growth and success of our assistance that we're going to provide and to see the youths leading the way in community development activities. This is just the beginning. We are planting seeds of success, and I'm confident that your progress will advance with time.
And that's it from Business Tonight. We now join Jamie with the latest in sports.
Thank you, Whitney, and good evening in Sports Tonight. Fiji men's sevens receive bronze medals. And Skipper Cup reps shine in police IDC. This and more coming up.
Bula FM number 2 NSR.
Bula FM number 2 NSR.
Despite the global pandemic, Flying Fijians head coach Vern Cotter has been in regular contact with his coaching team of Daryl Gibson, Glenn Jackson, Jason Ryan and Richard Gray for the past 2 months. Cotter, who revealed his team in June, says these coaches come with a lot of international experience and are experts in their respective technical areas. Cotter is expected to soon name his extended Flying Fijian squad for the Autumn Nations Cup in November.
We've obviously got our New Zealand-based players that we're having a very close look at. I've got Jason Ryan, who works for the Crusaders. Obviously, he has George Bower and Matali with him. I've got Daryl Gibson, who's looking at backs and what they can bring as well. And Glenn Jackson, I've been in regular contact with. So we have a group of men that are ready to go.
National Men's Sevens head coach Gareth Baber says the team is not far from where it needs to be on the World Rugby 7 series. The team received its bronze medals yesterday, finishing third in the 2019-2020 season.
At the end of this season, I should say that we struggled to put in the consistency of performance that we needed to battle against a really good New Zealand team who did well and were consistent in what they did, and obviously South Africa as well, who was we had some close battles with.
The Fiji Bitter Mara Sevens has long been a platform where unknown clubs come to stamp their mark. One such team hoping to do so in the 44th edition of the tournament is the Navua Gladiators from Wailevu in Thakaunrobe. Despite not having proper training facilities, the side is ready for the tournament and will travel to Suva with its supporters next week. Aquila Dama with the details.
Over the years, these players have heard radio commentaries and watched the Murray Sevens on TV, but now they will be part of it.
Participate in a major sevens tournament in the country like the Murray Sevens. This is our first time.
The team is made up of 18 to 20-year-olds who have been preparing for the last few weeks. The Gladiators are pooled with Mizuno Brabus, a team made up of Fiji 7 squad members, Yamadia, and defending champions, Police Blue.
We really love our pool because to our understanding we have the giants of Fiji 7's rugby in the pool, and we have been told and we know that, but we are not discouraged.
These youngsters and their supporters traveled to Suva for the tournament in March, only for it to be called off due to the pandemic.
We had a bus load of supporters in March to come and watch us play at the Murray Sevens, but now our fans and the parents have assured us that they will travel with us again to Suva to support us.
While the Gladiators continue to prepare in Vunulevu, another grassroots team is trying to get their sevens rhythm back.
We train for the 15s most of the time. We work with 15s because we're playing at the Suva rugby competition at the Koroturanga. But we work with most of the time we work with the 15s. But now we start with the 7s because the 7s next week. We just start with the 7 this week.
The Murray Sevens will kick off next Thursday at the ANZ Stadium in Suva. Aquila Dama, FBC Sports.
Former Flying Fijians fly half Waisea Luveniali says he's happy to share his rugby knowledge with young upcoming players in the Lautoka team. The 35-year-old former Queen Victoria School rugby star not only wants to influence the younger players on the field, but also off it as well. Felipe Nakaso has more.
He is the most experienced player in the Maroons outfit, but the former Harlequins player is just happy to be part of the team.
For me, I just need that for the team as a whole to be able to play as a team. That's what we've been trained for. That's what we've been doing day in, day out. That we learn to play as a team, not as individual.
Luveniali, who represented Fiji at the 2007 Rugby World Cup, is proud of the young Lautoka side who have made a comeback to Skipper Cup after 5 years.
It's going to be a big mountain to climb, especially with games coming up. But we are really looking forward. We are hoping that we're going to give our best on this last round.
Lautoka are currently 5th on the standings, and despite losing 2 of their last matches, they are remaining optimistic.
From our weaknesses last week, we are doing polishing up all aspects of our game preparation-wise.
Lautoka plays Tailevu tomorrow at 4 p.m. at Ratutakambo Park in Nosori. Felipe Naikaso, FBC Sports.
The dream of winning Rewa's first Vodafone Premier League could soon be a reality for veteran Usaya Tandu. The Delta Tigers are leading the VPL standings, gunning for maximum points in the remaining 4 matches to secure the VPL title. Caroline Tavi has more.
After losing his son in 2017, it was football that helped Tandu through that emotional turmoil.
Yeah, through football that I know some people maybe they turn back to all kind of living life. And, for me, I've been long to football. I know that football has brought me this far. I built my family through football, made life through football.
Tandu knows how important the VPL title will be for former teammate and coach Marika Rondu.
And of course for Rewa, it's all left for us to win the National League. As for our coach here, Marika Rondo, we started playing together, and I'm still here, but it's going to be a big achievement for me as well, and the coaches here, Marika.
Rewa has 23 points. Suva and Nadi have 19 points each. A loss in the next 4 matches will see the Delta Tigers lose its grip on the VPL victory. Rondo wants to finish the 2020 season on a high note.
I don't know my future in this team, but I'm happy at what we have achieved so far this year. So I'm hoping that we wrap up the 2020 season on a high note with securing the National League title. So
Rewa takes on Lambasa on Sunday at 3 p.m. at Ratu Dakambo Park in Nusori. The match will air live and exclusive on FBC Sports, and live commentary will be on Mirchi FM. Karlini Tavi, FBC Sports.
2 provincial rugby players are competing in the Police Inter-District Championship. Naitasiri rugby fullback Kini Douglas plays right link for the Police Special Response Unit, while former Flying Fijian fullback Isoa Donaldson features for Western 2 as centre-back. Tale Materkula caught up with the rugby players at the football tournament and files this report.
Both players are using the competition as a way to maintain their fitness in the upcoming Skipper Cup matches.
First of all, we know soccer, football is a very tough game to play. Mostly involve of running up and down the ground. And it has really helped me a lot in my fitness.
In rugby, we tackle, we get tackled hard on the ground and get injured. But in football, we just use our feet and relax.
Football may be new to former Flying Fijian fullback Isoa Donaldson, but for Naitasiri veteran Kini Douglas, it is something he grew up playing.
I was focused on training with the Nadi rugby team, but was called up for the competition, so I thought to give it a try.
Just for fun at school, primary school, but no, don't have any special memories of playing soccer.
Both Donaldson and Douglas will be in action for their respective teams in the semi-final of the Police IDC tomorrow. Tali Materkula, FBC Sports.
Good news for boxing fans, as in a month's time, the country will see the first promotion since COVID-19 put a stop to sports. Kiran Boxing Promotion today launched its title fight in Nadi for November 28th, which will feature an explosive matchup. Chese the Hitman Ravundi and Ronald the Terminator Naidu will fight for the WBF Asia Pacific Super Welterweight title, while Sitiveni Nawai will meet Tomu Ngonovo for Fiji's Super Middleweight title.
This is a milestone achievement for both the boxing fans in Fiji to watch boxing at an international level, and likewise a great opportunity for our local-based promoter Ben Krishna to uplift this sport, especially during this pandemic which is happening around the world.
The promoters have also been reminded that they can only feature 7 fights and to ensure the event is completed well before curfew. In play of the day, Glenn Maxwell and Alex Carey's record-breaking 212-run partnership that steered Australia to a thrilling one-day series victory over England at Emirates Old Trafford. Chasing 303, Maxwell hit a blistering 108 from 90 balls, and Carey a more measured 106 as a belligerent partnership rescued Australia from 73 for 5. That's it from Sports Tonight. Coming up in new media, video classes could become the new norm in schools around the world. Details coming up.
Hi, Bula. I'm Selai from Nadi. I love Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Good evening and welcome to the Weather World. Showers have already been popping up in parts of the country. Well, we're almost wrapping up the work week, but it will be with showers. Also, we must look out for damaging heavy swells around the coastal areas of the country. Now, in the west, there is high chance of showers later tonight, so take extra precautions. Eastwards from Peck Harbour to Suva, a gloomy one with rainy conditions. And up north, same weather pattern follows. At sea, southeast winds 20 to 30 knots, rough to very rough seas. It's not safe to go out fishing tonight. Turning to the tides, low tide at 12:38 a.m. with high tide at 6:42 a.m. Sunrise will be at 5:59 a.m. For tomorrow, a lot of that rain will be clearing out. There is a good chance for showers later tonight and very early tomorrow morning. Tomorrow's temps, Lambasa will be warming up at 32 degrees. The winds could temper the digits. Suva and Ba will be cool at 20 degrees. And looking further on to Saturday, much of it will be cloudy before we see a slight chance of sunshine kick back in. That's all I have from my end. It's back to Jackie.
Thanks so much for that, Angie. In Fijian Pulse, we asked, are the frequent massive sales by prominent businesses benefiting Fijians?
I think the sales in shops will greatly help Fijians in these trying times.
We have gone through so much, and what businesses have done in terms of reducing prices has greatly helped us.
Yes, really benefited Fijians, because at the moment this kind of situations going on really help us.
Some of us have been laid off, some have reduced hours, so the sales is a great relief because we can buy plenty from the very little money we have.
Does your living room need a conversation starter? In the world of the weird and the wonderful, find out how you could soon have a dinosaur skeleton in your house. Recapping the main stories for tonight, Housing Ministry staff implicated in land scam, massive sales spur consumer spending, and enforcement teams to monitor garbage disposal in Nasinu. Now for these stories and others, tune in daily to our sister radio station, Gold FM. A poll question we're asking, do we need to have lifeguards at all picnic spots and beaches? Visit our FBC website to answer. And our shot of the day, sent in by avid trail rider Douglas Thompson, getting a view of Fiji's mountain range means travelling off the beaten path. And send us newsworthy pictures and videos to email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj, via Facebook page FBC News and our Twitter page at FBC_news. That's your news for tonight. Until tomorrow from the team and I, stay safe, stay warm and dry. Bye for now.
Bula FM, number 2 NSR.
Bula FM, number 2 NSR.